Well, my curiosity took me all the way. I decided to grind loose the coil from the base, and then with a ball-headed grinder grind out the cap which was held on top of these. Now, as you can see, there was effectively between the base and the base top, or the cap effectively, there are capacitors. And it turns out to be a mica shaped capacitor, like you see here, a thin layer of mica with I think it's a silver foil in between. And the base feet, as you can see, have a flat end, and that flat end makes contact, or made contact, with those capacitors. So effectively there are capacitors involved, only I don't know why they made it extremely hard to get at. So this is certainly not a job for the faint-hearted. In fact, I would say it's even, you really need a good dose of courage to start with it, because if you're not careful, you can really ruin the whole thing. So I took every precaution I could. First of all, grinding loose the tabs that go to the IF coil. Of course, I marked where each contact will go in the end. I made corresponding markings on the foot of the base which correspond with the markings of the coil, so I can find it back. So that's okay. Now I have, of course, a problem. That is that on this capacitor there is no marking whatsoever as to how much the capacitor is. I mean by how much, I mean how much picofarad, because obviously this can't be a very large capacitor. So how many picofarads are involved here? Now there are two caps involved with this coil, and it's parallel with each coil. So if anybody out there, if any of you, my dear watchers, have an idea as to how much picofarad each one of these capacitors is, please let me know in that, because then I can continue repairing this IF coil. Well, like I said, the point is you really need to unhook the IF coil from the base, and I did that by cutting the tiny little tabs here with a small grinder wheel, the one you see here, of my mini drill. And then you need to undo the top of the base so that you can reach the capacitors underneath. So the way I did that was to grind with a ball grinder from the underside until this copper holder slid through. So there you go, that's how you do it. But I advise you to really go carefully, because if you go too hard and too quickly, you might really ruin a very delicate, very brittle IF coil. So there you are. Stay tuned for another update to come soon.